Our CES 2019 coverage is made possible by SuperO, Republic of Gamers, Arosi, EK, and Patriot. Hey everyone, I'm Andy Raffel from eTeknix.com, and we stopped by the SuperO suite at CES 2019 to check exactly what they had coming up in 2019. Firstly, they had a whole range of motherboards, some of which we've actually looked at, starting with the SuperO C9 X299 PG300. This is an ATX motherboard supporting the X299 chipset, 4 PCI Express X16 slots, 10 GBE Ethernet, and 6 SATA ports. Next up was the C9 Z390 PGW. Now it's worth noting we've actually reviewed this and really like this board. It incorporates again an ATX form factor on the Z390 chipset, has 4 PCI Express X16 slots, 6 SATA ports, and like I say, we have reviewed it and we absolutely love it. Next up was the C9 Z390 CGW. This again is an ATX form factor using the Z390 chipset, but only has 2 PCI Express X16 slots, but does include 10 GBE Ethernet and 6 SATA ports. The next one is the C9 Z390 CG. Again, ATX and Z390, but has 2 X16 slots and 6 SATA ports. Sadly, no 10 GBE internet, but a lot cheaper than the previous model. Another board that we have reviewed ourselves again is the C9 Z390 CGIW. This is a mini ITX motherboard sporting the Z390 chipset, has 1 PCI Express X16 slot and 4 SATA ports. They deem it as a pint-sized powerhouse, and they're not joking, it really does pack a punch. The last board is one that we've not actually seen until we arrived at the suite at CES, and that is the C7 B360 CGM. Now this is a micro ATX form factor sporting the B360 chipset, has 1 PCI Express X16 slot, 6 SATA ports, and essentially it's kind of aimed as your no frills option. It's not going to be sort of, pushed in any way, but is going to have the stability that we know from SuperO and just high quality components on board. So a really nice board, and hopefully for a really nice price. Now, some of these boards were actually shown off in some of the mods that they had inside the suite. The first one was featuring the Lian Li 011 Dynamic with a custom purple paint job. It included the C9 Z390 CGIW Mini ITX board and full bits power custom loop water cooling with purple fluid inside. Now the next one that they had on show was incorporated into the Thermaltake Core P5 tempered glass in white. Now this was showcasing the C9 Z390 PGW, this time with full Thermaltake custom loop water cooling with white fluid. It's just kind of really a chance for SuperO to show off how their boards actually look. It's something that when we've done reviews of their boards in the past, we actually made very clear that we love the styling behind their boards because they don't go over the top with different accented colours. It's very kind of plain and subtle. And because of that, it actually allows you to kind of really take your system to kind of, where you want it to go in terms of aesthetic and design. On top of this, they also showed off what some of their system integrator stuff was all about, and this included the Velocity Micro Raptor Z55. Quite an extreme looking system aimed at gamers in mind, incorporating that PGW board that we've looked at before and an EVGA RTX 2080. Now, the thing that really shone for me at the SuperO suite was this prototype chassis that they had on show. Now, what it actually does is it splits in, well, kind of half. It's about 60-40% split, but it actually splits down the middle, and in one half is the main system, while the GPU and some extra cooling is situated in the other part of the system. Now, to basically take this apart, what you have to do is power down the system, unplug it, unscrew it and slide it off, and then simply take it apart. Now you can actually see that the GPU itself is connected via a riser cable, and it also included an alpha core AIO cooler with quick connects, meaning that if you wanted to add a GPU with a block or something like that at a later date, using them quick connects would be a breeze. Now, the kind of general idea behind this chassis was, imagine you have a design studio and you've got 6 different designers using PCs. You could essentially give them 6 of the component side of this chassis with your CPU, memory, SSDs and everything else. Then what they can essentially do is be using the iGPU or the onboard graphics of that particular computer. Then you may have only one of the GPU portion. So what you could essentially do then is have all of the people with their 6 systems, one of them turns around and says, right, it's time to render, and you give them the GPU portion. Imagine it a little bit like an eGPU, but instead of plugging in via Thunderbolt or another means of connecting, it simply plugs into a riser cable. Another scenario for this particular type of chassis would be a LAN gaming event. It is a very small form factor PC, and you could easily just put it into a bag as is, or you could split it into 2 and put it in like that, especially if you're having to travel on a plane or something similar. Let us know in the comments section below exactly what you think of this chassis. Do you think there is a market for it? I was actually really excited when I first saw it, and I'm really kind of hoping that it does come to market. As I say, at the moment it's just kind of in the prototype stages, but I honestly feel there is a need for it. So yeah, let us know. Hopefully you enjoyed the video, and if you did, you know exactly what to do. Be sure to check out the rest of our CES 2019 coverage, and I will see you in the next video. See you later. Bye-bye.